Imagine sitting at a table surrounded by 30 people. Everyone's plate is filled with expensive ribeye steak flown in from Japan, decadent side dishes, and fine wine, but when you glance down at your spot, there's nothing. No name card. No plate. Just a plain, pitiful salad, like you don't even belong. That was the night Rachel realized her marriage wasn't just to her husband, but to a family determined to erase her. And that night, she finally decided she wouldn't let them win. Rachel Carter grew up in Boston. Not in wealth, not in privilege, but in grit and warmth. Her father was a schoolteacher, her mother a nurse. Rachel worked her way through college, becoming a speech therapist, someone who dedicated her life to helping others find their voice. When she met Daniel Harrington, she thought she had finally found hers. Daniel came from a wealthy old-money family. His charm wasn't flashy, but steady. His laughter wasn't the loudest in the room, but it always made her feel safe. For Rachel, love was enough to bridge the gap between her world and his. But from the very first moment, Daniel's mother, Evelyn Harrington, saw Rachel not as a future daughter-in-law, but as an intruder. Evelyn was the kind of woman who carried herself like royalty. Perfectly coiffed silver hair. Pearls that weren't just jewelry, but symbols of status. Her smile could cut glass. And behind that smile was judgment sharp enough to wound. The exclusion started small. During the engagement party, Evelyn orchestrated family photos where Rachel somehow wasn't called over. She was left standing awkwardly at the edge of the room while Daniel's cousins and siblings posed. At Christmas, there was a family gift exchange. Rachel had bought thoughtful presents, wrapped them beautifully. But when names were drawn, hers wasn't included. Everyone chuckled awkwardly, pretending it was a mistake. Evelyn simply said, "Oh, we didn't think you'd want to participate in family traditions just yet." Rachel laughed it off, but inside, her stomach burned. And the worst part? Daniel never stood up for her. In private, he'd whisper, "I'm sorry, Rachel. You know how my mom can be." But in public? Silence. Always silence. The Harrington family patriarch, William, was retiring. They hosted a lavish dinner at one of Boston's finest country clubs. The dining room gleamed with chandeliers. Tables were dressed in white linen, crystal glasses sparkling under the light. Servers carried trays of imported ribeye, fresh seafood, dishes so extravagant Rachel couldn't even pronounce half of them. Rachel walked to the table and froze. Her name card? Missing. Her seat? Empty. A server, confused, quickly slid a garden salad in front of her. No entree. No wine pairing. Just lettuce and vinaigrette, like she was a child at the wrong table. The sound of knives cutting into meat surrounded her. The clink of wine glasses. The hum of laughter. And there Rachel sat, humiliated, invisible. Her hands trembled. Heat rose up her chest, into her cheeks. Her throat tightened like she couldn't breathe. For 30 minutes, she tried to hold it together. But when she overheard Evelyn whispering to Daniel, "She'll never fit in here. She's out of place." Something inside Rachel snapped. She stood. Her chair scraped loudly against the polished floor. The entire room went silent. And in a voice that shook at first, but grew stronger with every word, Rachel said, "For years, I've been excluded, ignored, erased. And tonight, you didn't just serve me a salad. You served me your contempt. Evelyn, I saw the messages you sent Daniel, calling me an embarrassment, saying I'll never be good enough. And Daniel, your silence is worse. Because every time you let her disrespect me, you chose her over me." Gasps echoed across the table. Evelyn's face went pale. Daniel opened his mouth, but no words came out. Finally, Evelyn hissed, "Daniel, choose. Your family or her."
And Daniel?
He stayed silent. That was Rachel's answer.
She walked out.
Head high, tears streaming down, but each step was freedom. In the days that followed, Rachel's phone lit up. Cousins, aunts, even William himself reached out. They apologized. Some admitted they had stayed quiet because Evelyn's shadow loomed too large. William, the patriarch, even confessed, "My silence has enabled her." and I regret it. But Evelyn didn't apologize. She doubled down. She had lawyers send Rachel veiled threats, warning her about future inheritance implications if she caused disruption. Rachel almost crumbled. But somewhere deep inside, she realized this wasn't about Evelyn. This was about reclaiming her own worth. Weeks later, Daniel showed up at her apartment. His once neat hair was disheveled, his eyes tired. He admitted he'd been a coward, that he had let his mother's grip define him. Rachel didn't take him back right away. She set conditions. Therapy. Boundaries. Proof that he would finally choose her. Slowly, painstakingly, progress came. In therapy, Daniel admitted he grew up under conditional love, that Evelyn had taught him love meant obedience. Breaking that pattern wasn't easy. But for Rachel, he tried. At a family dinner months later, for the first time, Rachel saw something different. On the Harrington wall, amid decades of portraits, there hung a framed photo of her and Daniel on their wedding day. Her name card was on the table. Her plate matched everyone else's. It wasn't perfection, but it was a crack in Evelyn's armor. The real moment of justice came when Rachel discovered she was pregnant. When the news broke, Evelyn's face tightened. Rachel braced herself for another storm. But Daniel stood tall, his voice firm, unwavering. "Mom, listen carefully. Respect is non-negotiable. Rachel is my wife, the mother of my child. And if you cannot treat her with dignity, you will not be a part of this child's life." Silence. Evelyn's mask cracked. For the first time, she had no control. Rachel didn't gloat.
She didn't need to.
Because in that moment, she saw it clearly. Evelyn had spent years trying to erase her, but now Rachel was the one writing the Harrington legacy. And finally, she believed Daniel. The revenge wasn't dramatic fireworks. It wasn't screaming or lawsuits. It was quieter, more powerful. Evelyn had tried to erase Rachel from the Harrington story. Instead, Rachel's face now hung proudly on the wall. Her name spoken at the table. Her child, the next Harrington, would carry her blood. Sometimes, revenge isn't about shouting the loudest. It's about standing tall when others try to shrink you. Rachel didn't destroy Evelyn. She outlasted her. And in the end, that's the sweetest revenge of all. If this story gave you chills, smash that like button. Tell me in the comments, have you ever faced someone who tried to erase your worth? And don't forget to subscribe for more stories where karma serves justice, louder than words ever could.